Hi guys, morning. Hello, I know it's Friday. Hope everybody had a really good week. My name is Anthony, this is my colleague Na, and you are here because you are interested in Office, PowerPoint, and Excel, and SharePoint, and Power BI, specifically things with ArcGIS. So hopefully we can make this fun and exciting this morning on a Friday at 8:30, and we'll do our best. So if anybody has any problems with that, I guess we'll get started. So first, I'd like to introduce and get started with our platform, which is Microsoft Office, and we're going to use Excel and PowerPoint first, and we're going to be dealing with, in this particular presentation, an inventory problem. In this case, we've run out of coffee cups, and we're going to use these three products to kind of track down who doesn't have the coffee cups, where it went wrong, and how we can kind of prevent that from happening in the future. So the first part we're going to do here is discovery, and we're going to build this map using Maps for Office, and that's what we're going to move on to. So give me 1 second. And we'll, if you guys have any questions and everything, we'll save them at the end. So for those who've never used ArcGIS Maps for Office before, it's a plugin for Excel and PowerPoint, and it allows you to location enable your data using whatever spreadsheets and tables that you have within Excel, and later on in PowerPoint when you share those items on ArcGIS Online. So give me just 1 second here to sign in. Signed me out for some reason, my apologies. There we go. So we have our data set. This was provided to us from our data analyst here at my coffee shop, and they said, hey, I think we have a problem with our cup count. One of our high-performing stores has run out of cups. Something seems to be wrong, so we're going to build this map out and see if we can figure out what happened here. And for those of you who've never seen the interface of Maps for Office in general, or have used 5.0 or 4.0, this is the newest version. It was just released at the beginning of the year. We completely overhauled everything, built it more or less from the ground up. Tons of performance improvements, accuracy, and just more tools to help you make better maps and, like I said, location enable your data. So we have our sheet here. This is our table 1. And for right now, we're going to use coordinates. However, we can map by whatever is in our table here. I can do it by city or world city if I had stuff across the world here, zip codes, etc. But for this presentation, I think we're going to stick with coordinates because that's how I have it here on my Excel sheet. And I have some other various data that I can use to map and style. Right now what this is doing, this is going to use a process which is, I guess, a hot term, smart mapping. So it's already trying to figure out what's the best type of data to add to the map. Coordinates, and it's going to try to map this by revenue, and it's going to give me this counts and amounts theme. So let's see what this gives me here. And there we go. Here are my coffee shops in San Francisco and in South San Francisco. But as I look at this, it really doesn't paint a picture as to what's going on with my data, right? My data analyst said that I have a coffee cup problem, but I really can't tell from here who has the problem, what store is running out, what store is generating more revenue or less revenue. So we're going to style this a bit. The first thing I want to do, we're going to just change our base map here. Something a bit on the darker side, which I like. And we're going to come into the toolbar here, or the map tools, and we're going to change our layer style. Now, counts and amounts is fine for other types of presentations. For this one, I really kind of want to see visually where things are in the red or the blue, or whichever color I decide. So when I click that there, I kind of see, well, I see all these dark blues, maybe they're having some problems. But right now what I want to do and need to do is classify my data. So for anybody who's never used that before or is, like I said, new to this, it's just another way of manipulating your data to get a broader picture of what's happening with the numbers that were provided for you. For right now, I only want to see maybe 3 kind of areas, right? Low, middle, and high. That's all I really want to look at. But we're not there yet, right? We have these blue colors, and I really don't know which one is kind of bad. If I click on this, it says they have 26,000 cups. Well, that seems to be fine for me. But let's see if we can get this a bit further and a bit more specific here. And so I want to say any stores. Oops, give me 1 second. Any breaks, thank you. Help if I click on the right one. There we go. Value is not in range. You're lying to me. Technical difficulties, that's real nice. Thanks, guys. Yeah, let's see here. Maybe I can drag the slider down, it might be a bit easier. There we go. We'll just do it that way. We'll say anything less than 6,500. And then let's change our fill here. So I see this red one, and I kind of move our map. I see a few that are kind of in the dark red. Let's see what happens when we click on this, how many are on here. Cup count is 13,200. It's not, don't really like that visually. Let's see what else we have. We flip this around. That's not so bad, and it looks like our store here in 2165 Polk Street is having some problems, but let's dig a little bit deeper. I'm a fan of red, so I think I'm going to use red here. There we go. And using this, we can see that there is a problem with this particular store in general that says, hey, you guys are running out of cups. You shouldn't be running out of cups. Now, 13,000 obviously seems like a lot of cups, but this could be a high revenue store, or in this particular area, you know, they buy a lot of small coffee or medium coffee, whichever one it is. But now with this, I can dig a little bit deeper, and I can also add a bit more data on this map. Now I have to click on one of these features here to figure out what it is, but I can change the labels on this if we enable them. And we can style this a bit. Let's change this to a gray color. Kind of give us a bigger picture here as to what's happening. That looks a little bit better than it did before. So now I can clearly see that, okay, well, Polk Street is having some problems. Then we have these other areas which are kind of okay, you know, and then we also have these other, give me 1 second. Again, technical difficulties, sorry about that. Yeah, I guess I want to style it like this. There. Right, great. So this store is telling me that we're having an inventory problem. So what does this tell us, right? So I need to find a store next to this or somewhere that has kind of a, you know, higher inventory that they can borrow for the day or for the week or month or whatever it is. So clearly I see this Union Street that's right next door. They have some cups that they can offer. But if I look even in these areas down here, I can see that, you know, they may be having some inventory problems as well. So what I want to do next, I just kind of want to use this 340 Mission Street just as an example. Here. And I want to use this little tool called Find Nearby. And what this is going to do is going to allow me to pick a drive time. And I want to say a drive time around this area in a minute, then maybe I can borrow some cups from and send to this store, or anything in general to kind of move some inventory around. So we choose our parameters here. We're going to run the analysis. So in a minute's walk, a minute's drive, I can go to these stores here and I can get some inventory if I need to. But let's see what's around the Polk store. We're going to run the same process. I want to see what's in, let's see, maybe drive time, maybe a couple minutes here. Okay, not much, right? So our only store that this Polk Street can really help figure out what's going on is our Union Street store. That we're going to have to call them up and get some inventory to send for the Polk Street. But give me just 1 second here. So, technical difficulties, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Remind me next time not to use my Mac for the presentation. Okay, sorry about that. I knew the colors were wrong because I'd practiced this presentation quite a bit, so I blame the coffee and Friday morning. The coffee shop I really wanted to look at was this one, so sorry. User error is what this really came down to. So the 340 Mission Street is the one that's actually having the problem, and I was second guessing myself there for just a second. But at any rate, we're gonna run through that same workflow, and I wanna do a drive time around our 340 Mission Street because it clearly says that, hey, you guys have a cup problem, right? It's less than what our inventory should be. They've made a decent amount of revenue this month, but I noticed our last order date was in February and it's now March. So I want to do a quick analysis on this, and we're going to run our drive time here. Like I said, we're going to use a minute just because there are quite a number of stores downtown here. And there we go. We kind of have this picture of what stores are available or next door. I'm probably going to head to the 123 Mission Street. It looks like they have quite a number of cups, 28,000. And I'm going to ask them, hey, can we borrow some cups? So this is just a quick and easy way to visually see our data that our data analyst said, no, there's a problem with our inventory. But the next thing I want to do is update or share this map. And we're going to share it out here as to our either public or within our own organization across ArcGIS Online, or if you have a portal set up or anything with enterprise. So we're going to call this just coffee shop inventory update. Not test, we're going to say list manifest inventory. And then we can write out a summary of our layer here, right? Send to CEO. And I'm going to share it with as many people as I possibly can. And hopefully it shares across the network here. It should. So what this does then is that now I can either open up PowerPoint and find this in my own content or publicly. I'm also going to create a slide out of this so then I can present it to my team and say, hey, I think we have a problem here. And then they can visually see it in our meeting and say, well, you know, there's definitely a problem with this. Great. Let's see if PowerPoint opens. And there we go, right? We have a static image of this slide, but let's say I want to visually see what's going on in real time. I can add a slide here in PowerPoint, and we're going to sign in with our account. Here we go. Great, and then kind of the same functionality that Excel has, I'm gonna add our map. Now, since I'm signed in with my own account, I can see my content that was just published, or I can see it across my organization, or even things publicly. Now bear in mind, it didn't show up here when I just shared it, and I think that has to do with our network here. I know I was having problems last night with the network in general, sharing items. Not sure if it's a security issue, but either way, I do have a backup, and we should see at least some of this. And we can add our legend here of what this is, just to kind of give you a visual representation of what has happened. And again, we can see cups that are, or coffee shops that are having these problems. We can choose our layout, whether we want it to fill the slide or fill to the right, fill the bottom, etc. And then I can kind of manipulate this data or this slide here. I don't want to use the bottom one. I want to use the fill slide. And we have our legend on the map, just to show what's happening. Again, apologies. This is my backup one in case something like this happened where it wouldn't share across the network. So the data is slightly different. However, when I insert the map, I now have this kind of, looks like I can click on this, but I can't really do it just yet until I start the slideshow. So then what I can do, not end of slideshow, thank you. I can enter this live mode in PowerPoint, and I can, during my meeting with whomever I'm with, I can say, hey, look, I can click on these stores, and here's our pop-up of what's going on in this 340 Mission Street, right? We have some problems. There's this revenue. They clearly have less than however many cups. And then this is good information for our team to present to our business analysts, which now segues us into Power BI. With Power BI, you kind of get more of a reporting aspect and a bit of analysis. This is sort of the next level in the Microsoft integration products. And it gives us a better way to dig into why these problems may have happened in the first place. Now, I know we're kind of chugging along on time here, so this is a report that I've created based on this data set that I was given from my data analyst. And I created some nifty charts here to help me try to figure out what's going on with, and I don't know if you guys can see that okay, yeah. What's going on with my inventory. So if I come into this 340 Mission Street here, see some problems. I'm just gonna refresh this here real quick. There we go. And I'm just going to expand this out quite a bit here. So this report that was generated from Excel, I've now imported it here into Power BI, or Maps for Power BI, and I can see the same drive time areas. I can see that my 340 Mission Street is having some problems. So what does that tell me as a business analyst? Well, using these handy charts here, I can see, well, the cost of my cup really hasn't increased at this location. It's still about 11 cents per cup, regardless of its size. But if I click on here, it says, well, nothing was ordered in March. Well, that seems to be a problem. How come nothing was ordered in March? When's the last time things were ordered in January? Well, it looks like this pops up here in January. And then if we come to March, 340 Mission Street not only disappears, but I only have 2 stores that have ordered cups in March. Well, to me, that's a problem, especially if these stores are making quite a bit of money and the other stores are now suffering because they don't have the cups there. And then just visually speaking, I can see, my cost centers, how much it is costing per cup, and whether or not that's having a factor in the revenue that's being generated at the stores there. Give me a second, sorry, network issues. So this is the general report view, right? But let's go ahead and build this report from scratch. So we're going to remove this here. And we're going to click on the ArcGIS Maps for Power BI icon. And like we did earlier in Maps for Office, we're going to just do latitude and longitude just to make it a bit easier. And again, we have a basic kind of understanding of where our points are, what our coffee shops look like, but I need to add, again, this cup count here to our color field. I'm starting to paint a little bit of a picture. We'll click on the ellipses and we'll say edit, because now that we can get into some formatting and symbol styles and hopefully some analytics a bit later on. Base map, we're going to choose our dark gray canvas. Now, if you notice, I just want to make a mention of this. There's 3 different modes in Power BI. You can use a free user account, which is accessible to anybody that has Office 365. You can sign in for a Plus subscription, which offers a bit more in terms of demographics or how many points you can geocode, and then also things like Living Atlas. And then you can connect to ArcGIS publicly. Enterprise is still in the works, so you can connect to anything that has public data or that you've shared within your content. So if I were to sign into this now, I can see the map that I just shared with Office, but I don't want to do that just yet. Okay. So we're going to come into our symbol style here. We're going to just turn the transparency down so we can kind of see them a bit better. Maybe change the pixel size a bit. And we're going to do the same thing that we had done previously, is that we're going to change our classification type to say manual breaks. And I want 3 classes. And now with this one, hopefully it does not give me any problems. I want to say 2000. There it is. There we go. Great. So now we're kind of getting this sort of a picture of what's going on. There's the darker red dot, but I want to add some tooltips to this. So we're going to say the last time our order date was, how much revenue this store makes. I'm sorry? Oh, I do have a black box on my screen there. Sorry, I don't see that on my screen. Let me see this. Well, I don't know why there's a black box. Can I scroll? Can I move this? Okay, here, let me move this right here. These are the fields that are in my Excel sheet or in my data, and I'm dragging them to this tooltip field well that allows me to see. Now when I click on this, there's our street information, our revenue, and the last order date. And now it's, sorry guys, I don't know what's happening. Don't ever come to the Office presentation again, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not gonna touch anything. Okay, great, but this is all I was just adding, was just building this report back again to show the revenue, street line, and just the order date. That'll help us. What is going on? I don't know. Sorry, gang. Yeah, right. I feel like everybody needs to come closer. Sorry. It's super funny. It was the most concise and specific presentation I've been to the entire Dev Summit. It was really close and personal. All right, let me go get the technical guy. Sorry. That's super silly. I hope so. At any rate, there we go. So this is what I was doing. Basically just recreating this report from scratch, just to show you how I got the colors in there and the And the tooltips, I think I'm going to add one more here. I'm going to add this cost center because I really want to know, just like kind of, with inventory, like if it's, let's say Esri had multiple, stores, or this coffee cup has stores, kind of divide this up into cost centers to get an overview of, which part of my city or part of the town is doing better than the other, or if it's across the country, just to kind of drill down in the data here. I'll admit I'm the first one who's not a business analyst, so I could have made this report entirely wrong, but that's totally fine. So there we go. So this is our report that we had seen when we first came into this, and it looks almost like the Office one. The colors are slightly different because we are in the Power BI environment. But the next thing I want to do with this is do the analysis like we did in Maps for Office. So if we come to our analytics tool here, and we can also, actually I want to just do this real quick. Just want to add Fremont Streets. Just I want to add a pin maybe just as a reference point of like, okay, well there's the corner of Fremont Street. Let's see what they have around these stores. I know I have 3 stores there. But the next I want to do is some drive time, and this is what we're going to do. And we're going to do a distance of drive time in 1 minute. All right, and let's do yellow. Cool. So now we have this drive time layer that's sitting on top of our points, and I can say, well, at least in a minute's drive, I can go to a few different stores here. Our best bets are going to be this 123 Mission Street, as well as this other one's hanging out down here on 199 Fremont Street. So let's go back to our report. And I can also filter these drive times with our selection tools here and say, well, what happened in this radius, right? Well, these 2 stores, they're in the same cost center, but both of them somehow didn't order anything in March, and they only ordered a little bit in February. But this store here seems to be faring better right down the street. So we don't know what the problem is or why that's happened. So now this is a good time, so I can get some water here, to segue to my colleague Na, who's going to show us Maps for Sharepoint, because she's my inventory manager, and I need to know what happened with this 340 Mission Street and why we have no inventory and our last order date was at the end of February. So Na, take it away.
Thank you. Sorry, I need to switch the monitor, so wait for me for a second.
Is it 5?
5?
5. It's like the clown kids over here.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Na Zhang, and today I'm going to talk about Maps for Sharepoint. So before I go through Maps for Sharepoint, I want to ask questions. How many of you have no Sharepoint? Can you raise your hands? Wow, cool. Then how many of you have used the Maps for Sharepoint before? Oh my God. Only a few of you guys. Okay, today I'm going to talk about Maps for Sharepoint. Maybe I can bring up some awesome cool feature to you so you can get to know Maps for Sharepoint. Okay, this is a SharePoint site contents page. So as you can see, there's a lot of components in SharePoint. Microsoft Sharepoint actually is a web-based site platform. It can do a lot of things. They basically have site pages, so you can create site page in your site collection. And it has the customer list, which is like a container, which can contain your data inside the customer list. Let's say if you have some Excel sheet data, you can import them into the customer list. And it also have some folder, like folders or document library. So this will help you organize all the documentation in SharePoint site connection. Our Maps for SharePoint actually focus on the site pages. We can add our map to the site page. And we also focus on the customer list, so which is we can geocode your data. even is some data from Excel sheet. And we can help you organize your documentation. We provide very awesome apps, help you geo-tagging and geo-search your documentations. So let's go through that. Next page. That's our ArcGIS maps for SharePoint. I'll give you a very big picture about what our maps for SharePoint can do. So as you can see, at the right side, that is the site page of the SharePoint. You can create your own site page. And at the right corner, that's the map. So you can use our component to create a map and insert that map into a site page. And also you can use our app to geocode your customer list. After you geocode your customer list, we can bring your geo-enabled customer list to our map. That's very essential part of our product. And then we are not stopped there. We can also bring the content from the ArcGIS Online to your map. Let's say you have some coworkers who is using Map Viewer, who is using Maps for Office, or they are using Maps for Power BI. So you create some layer, and then you share them to ArcGIS Online. Now you can, through our apps, to bring all this feature layer to your map, and then add them together to do all kind of analysis. And even more, you can load the ArcGIS public content, like demographics layer, like infographics layer, like householding, like income layer. So you can add all these features to the map and put them together to analyze the stuff you want. So today, that's the basic function of maps for SharePoint. But today, I will not demo any analysis tools related to this basic function because today I want to bring up a very cool new feature, which is geo-tagging and geo-search. This feature has been released in our latest maps for SharePoint. This feature, what is geo-tagging and geo-search actually? So as a SharePoint user, as we know, most of users is trying to use SharePoint to organize your documentations. But sometimes when you're trying to find that documentation, it's getting very frustrating and sometimes it's time consuming. So we provide this geo-tagging and geo-search component to help you organize your documents. So you can attach your documents to our map component on a specific location. So next time when you're trying to find some documents, you can just simply click on the map and then it will bring up the documents for you. Today my demo will show how to configure a workflow, which is the geocoding workflow to geocode your data list. And then I will demonstrate how to load the geocoded data list to the map. And I also will demonstrate the geo-tagging the documents to a specific location. And after all this settled down, we can geo-search the documents. And I can answer Anthony's question, how to get the documents for
Find out what happened, yep.
Yeah, 345, 40 Mission
340
Street.
Mission
Right.
Street, yep.
So that's what I'm going to do in the demo. Okay, let me bring up. This is my SharePoint site page. So as I mentioned, there is site pages here. There is customer list data here. And there is some folder here. And the user used to use folder to manage the documentation. If I click this button, we can see the documents inside this folder. So what I will do is, let's open this data list. So this data list contains the information related to the coffee shop, which Anthony demonstrated. So I have address information in my street line. I have city information. I have state. I have zip code. I have revenue, cost center, all this kind of information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure a workflow which will geocode my data list. It's very simple. You just click on the workflow settings button and then choose our ArcGIS Maps component. Add a workflow. So I'll give a name, locate. And do pay attention on these two small checkboxes. So once you check this small checkbox, our workflow will, actually the workflow is running at the backend system. So once you check these two checkboxes, when you update your data list, insert one or delete one, our workflow will automatically be triggered and run at the backend. So you don't need to worry about to sync the data. So it will always geocode your data. And now the page is trying to load the configuration page for our workflow. Okay, it's going to take a little bit time here. Is the network working? It's Friday.
Yeah, right.
Networking is, oh my God. Okay, here you go. So we will choose the default world geocoder as our geocoder. And next. Okay, we will try to match the location columns for you. So we'll pick up the city, state, and sometimes the address information you need to pick by yourself. I will choose street 91, and then I click next. I'll include all the data in the list. And then I'll click finish. So this will kick out the workflow. So while this is running, let's go to our second step. So let's go to the site page. We need to create a new site page and load a map into the site page. This is our site page. I'll create a new one to load our geotagging and the search component. Demo SP. Now I insert our app part, geotagging and the search part. As I mentioned before, we have two components. One is ArcGIS Maps, which include the basic functions, analysis tools. Anthony already introduced in the Maps for Office. And we have our second app, which called ArcGIS Map Search, which has the new feature, geotagging and the search. Will help you organize your documentation. So I will add our search app. And I will switch to the edit mode. Because only in the edit mode, I can set my geotagging attributes. I can add my layer. I can geotagging and search. So let's take a look. Okay, so since our data list is still geocoding, still in the process. But don't worry, we will get it. Say which one is faster. Okay. Almost there. What's wrong with this one?
That's the network.
Oh, I see. Because if I move my mouse up to the ribbon, and then my content will be refreshed automatically. That's something from SharePoint itself. So it's my bad. Sorry for that. Let's see this one.
I feel like everybody needs to disconnect from their Wi-Fi so we can have it.
Okay, our data list have been geocoded. Let's take a look at our data list. So this is our data list. So we already finished our geocoding workflow. It will show complete in our locate workflow column. And then Hey, what's wrong with this guy? Okay, let's create a new one. It's okay.
What's that? What's the phrase? It's a feature, not a bug. Is that what it is? It's
That's
a
very
document.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I think the network is having somewhat of a problem with this.
Right.
For sure. So
Or maybe I didn't sign in or something.
I don't know. It's
But-
definitely there yesterday.
Okay, so what's my backup plan? Okay. Let's see. See if we can open existing site page I created yesterday. Let's go take a look at the site page. Okay, there's something wrong with the network, I think. Okay, so what I will do is I will demonstrate a video for you I record yesterday. Let's see.
Hello everyone, good morning. My name is
Okay, let's move to the place we want to check. Okay, so, okay, here's the place we're working on. Now we can, so when we open this site page, we add our geotagging and search app to the map, and then we go to the layer. Let's see, where is the place? Here. Okay, so from here, we can access to the data, which we already geocoded, and we will node this data to the map. As you can see, once the data have been geocoded, we can easily node it to our map. Okay, click Add button, and then the data will be noded to the map. And I will do some justification. I will try to refine the map. I will change the base map to a dark gray canvas. It looks nicer, right? And then I'll go to the layer, change the symbol. So I'll choose a firefly. I'll choose pink, my favorite color. Okay. And then I will go set the label for the features. So once we set the label will show on the features. So we can see I set the street name as the label. We will show the street name on the features. So it's easy to find the location on the street name. Okay, after that, I will set the geotagging attributes. This is very important. So what is geotagging attributes? Actually, it's a field from the layer to use for tagging and search documents. So let's say once you choose the street name as the geotagging attributes, when you attach your documents to the feature, I will populate a tag at the background and then the backend system and then save to the documents. So next time when you do the geo search, I will search that geo tag for finding your documents. Okay, now let's take a look our documentations. So we have the folder called inventory, right, in our site pages. Now from here, from the app, we can access to the inventory, to the documentation. And we can attach the documents. That's the documents in the inventory. And we can attach the documents to the features by just drag and drop. So it's very simple and easy. Once you put the documents to the specific features, we will generate a text for you. We can see the number from 7 increased to 8. So I played around yesterday. That's the text. When you click on that, we can see all the text associated with the documents. You can modify the text. You can delete them. Yeah, you can delete. Or you can always tag your documents to multiple different locations. Okay, perfect. So we have geo-tagged our documents to the features. Now the next step is doing the geo search. What is Anthony's question again? Find the document.
Yeah, I need you to find the documents from basically the inventory or manifest of 340 Mission Street.
Okay.
And I need to know, see if we have who ordered it, when it was ordered, and what type of items they ordered previously.
Okay. So I'll try to find the documents. Because I already geotagged the documents. So now I just simply click the place, 340 Mission Street. I'll find all the documents here. So it's pretty cool. When you move your mouse up and down, we can actually give you some preview of the documents. So you can see some content in the documents. And there's more details like last modifying time, the contributors, stuff like that. You can download these documents, or you can open the documents by simply click on that link. So that's the documents you need, Anthony. I think I find it.
You did find it.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Excellent.
So that's the geotagging and search app. So today we talk about this specific advanced feature for Maps for SharePoint. I think the time is up. I will wrap up and pass to Anthony and see what question we have, so we can go to the Q&A session.
Sure. Yeah, so thanks. That was our presentation of the 3 products. I know it was kind of quick to see lots of powerful tools in action. So we have about 12, 13 minutes. Questions, complaints. I have tomatoes coming at me already. This is great. Yes, you in the back.
For the Office product, is there any capability for kind of caching data offline, so that if you have to take something out of the office and you're not guaranteed network connectivity, you still have some networking?
Yeah, so we don't usually recommend that. There is a way that, let me switch to, can you just press 3?
Yeah, sure.
Basically what happens is if you, let's say you disconnect or you lose the network connectivity, which is what basically happened here, it'll keep a last known state. However, any changes that you make, as long as you save it within the Excel file itself, and the next time you reload the Excel file, it should all still be there. If you were in the middle of sharing a map or like geocoding something, it's gonna break, basically what it is. But you can technically do everything quote unquote offline, but you have to stay signed into ArcGIS Online, obviously, to share that data. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, we want to say like, yeah, make sure you're connected, but you can technically do it offline after you've signed in. It's got a weird workflow, but that does work, yeah. Any other questions?
Yes,
Oh, yes.
please.
Oh, wait, I don't
one's
know.
first?
Yeah, sure, I saw it first. Yeah, that's fine.
Is there a way to add in geolocations for SharePoint for polygons?
Please repeat again.
For maps for SharePoint?
Yes.
Can you
Yes, we can, definitely.
And how does that work?
You can search, you can configure the workflow with different geocoder. So we can geocoding your address information to the polygons, if that's what you are asking, right?
Right, so instead of using street, I think you would just be like, oh, I want to
Like
geocode
you-
states or countries or whichever it is. It's whatever you choose right before you geocode the data. I think that's, she's asking basically if you can geocode polygons instead of points, correct?
Yeah, more of like a custom polygon. If,
Can you
You-
do custom polygons?
You mean the customer polygon from ArcGIS Online, right? Oh, okay. Yes, we can do that. So you can set up a customer location type in our geocoding workflow. We have buttons, we have the steps to do that. And then once you set that up, it can point to the polygon, the specific customer location type from ArcGIS Online. So you can run the geocoding workflow based on what you want to do. For
does
the
it also integrate with enterprise?
enterprise, yes, definitely. I can give you the documentation link so you can look into that after this session, okay? Yeah, it's a very good question. Thank you.
Yep.
So, enterprise is my main question. So, enterprise is already with SharePoint,
Yes.
and what's the timeline for Power BI?
That's a very hot topic this year for everybody. It's a combination of conversations between us or ourselves and Microsoft. There's some technical limitations with it, which we're kind of smoothing out. So we're hoping, don't quote me, hoping at some point this year that we can have the enterprise integration into Power BI. But it's definitely in the works. It's literally something we're working on. Even this morning when I woke up. So, but yeah, it's there. It's a big ask, not only just from Esri users or just in community in general, even like Microsoft community saying, we have to get this linked together. Because then it just opens up a whole new world of sharing and everything else within Power BI. So yeah, it's definitely coming.
So, in the meantime, the main way to share is through online?
Right, exactly, yeah, through ArcGIS Online, exactly, yep. So,
Okay. Any other questions?
any other questions? You guys want to see something else?
And you can, if you don't want to ask publicly, you can write the question on your business card and give your business card to us so we can get back to you.
Sure.
Or you can connect us with the contact information on the screen. So you can send email to us. So our team will directly reply you, trying to figure out a best solution for you.
And then also, we do have a survey in case you guys want to provide any feedback, positive, negative, any questions, concerns.
Right.
We'd love to hear it. So it was our first presentation here, so not too bad, right? That was all right, yeah. Pretty good. Anything else? Any other questions you guys want to see? No? All good? Once, twice, sold. All right, cool. Well, hopefully everybody has a good Friday and have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Drive
Thank you
safely.
so much for
Thanks,
spending
guys.
time with us. Thank you.